Sanibona. Nda. My name is Mpumelelo. I would like to thank you for your continued support. I'd like to thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share this video with your friends and with your family. I'd also like to hear from you. Make your comments on the comments section or reach out on my email if you don't want your comment to appear on this comment section. Today I want to talk about the Berlin Conference and its evil twin, which is called the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery was not conceived in Berlin, but it was a decree which was issued by popes who lived in the 19th century. That decree authorized certain countries to colonize so-called pagan and unchristian territories occupied by people and Christianize them and civilize them. Now, you'd understand that when you are going to Christianize and civilize people, you're going to disrupt their way of living violently. And this is what happened. But there's something I admire. I hate to admit it, but I do admire the way in which white people are able to present their unity in front of the world. White people can be Greek, they can be Italian, they can be Spanish, they can be English, they can be Africans for that matter. But their whiteness is presented as a united force. They're able to rally their ideas around whiteness. That's why today we talk about white monopoly capitalism. Because it's white people who have amassed the wealth of this global village, and they're able to control things remotely by controlling the economies of other countries. And they are doing it as a united force. You see, when white people realized that there were mineral resources in Africa, and they were haphazardly annexing territories. Sometimes there will be 2 or 3 flags in one country. They realize that very soon they'll be killing each other over these mineral resources. So they wisely convened, Otto von Bismarck convened a conference and called all the ambassadors of all these European countries and sat them down and say, guys, let's have a gentleman's agreement here on how we're going to colonize these countries. Let's have an agreement, otherwise we'll end up shooting each other and looking foolishly in front of these barbaric people, uncivilized people. So let's agree. You take this. If you agree that you'll take this, I'll take that one. If you agree that you take that one, I'll take this one. At the end, we're going to trade amongst each other and we'll be rich. So they agree the cake is big. Let's cut it amongst ourselves and share. I admire it. It is evil, but it's the kind of evil you can say, we're unable to do it. we're unable to unite as a people. We fail to unite. Even if we are given one country to run, we fail to unite and agree to do things in a particular way. As we speak here in South Africa, we have about two political parties that represent white people. We have a so-called Liberal Party and a Conservative Party, which is a trend throughout the world. You have two. And we have over 100 black political parties. We can't agree. We can't agree. And this is designed purposefully. When Africa was divided, it was divided for that purpose, so that we never agree, we always fight against each other. You will not believe this. During apartheid, we were divided not only according to our so-called tribes, but even in metropolitan areas like Soweto, Mamelodi, you had sections of sections of Zulu speaking people, sections of Sotho speaking people, sections of Tsonga speaking people, or Shangaan speaking people, and Venda speaking people. We were divided. And guess what happens? During negotiations, our leaders sit down with their white counterparts, and they demanded a decentralization of democracy. It sounds very nice. Let's decentralize this democracy so that power is not centered in one place. They had something in mind, they knew. And the terms of what kind of democracy it was going to be, and how, in fact, you should win elections. 50% plus one. If you want to change the constitution, you need to have 2/3 majority in parliament. It was cleverly conceived. They knew. We thought that we had so much support, our support will increase every election. But they knew the trends already. They knew that our support will decline, and we will not be able to change this constitution. It favors them right now as you speak, because our support in parliament is fast declining. They are able to fund every political organization that is emerging. They give it funds so that it's sustained. It divides the vote of the black people. And so we remain divided. So we are divided. We reinstated apartheid institutions and tribalism. Our country has 9 provinces. These provinces they are organized along tribal lines. Whether you like it or not, they are organized along tribal lines. They have amputated our power to act. Now, I think I'm dwelling too much on the South African problem now. I want to look at the bigger problem, but let me finish this idea. The Pan-Africanist Congress, during negotiations, said, let's have on the agenda the land question. Let it be the first issue to be addressed. Once we have restored the land to its rightful owners, then we can talk about other things. The ANC and other political organizations, they said, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Let's have a vote, equal vote, and all these peripheral things that don't really matter right now. Doesn't matter if I vote or I don't vote. I don't have land. And the economy is still in the hands of the white people. So we laughed at the PAC. And it turns out the PAC was right. The PAC, because of its stance, political stance, did not get funding from, understandably so. It was weakened. As the ANC gets weakened now, the PAC is supposed to be the one rising. But the PAC is too radical for the white monopoly capital. It will never be allowed to rise. So the EFF is not even a match because we have young people who like material things. And so they are playing in the hands of capitalists. They will fund them. They will direct their programs one way or the other. So we were outmaneuvered, we were outsmarted. Our constitution right now means nothing to the man in the street who lives in a shack without access to sanitation, without access to water, without access to education, without access to medical care. It means nothing. It means something to someone who lives in Orania. It means everything. And they will defend this constitution. Like you have non-government organizations like the AfriForum, well-resourced. It's got lawyers and it's got all these things to defend this constitution. the constitution that is harming us. Anyways, so white people are able to present a united front. Black people are divided. Terribly divided. We can't agree on anything. So the issue of dismantling the borders is really pie in the sky in the minds of Africans, black people. They can't think about that. The general, citizens of these countries see a point because they want to move around and trade or live where they want to live. But they are inhibited by these borders. At the end of the day, they come into the countries where they want to settle, and they settle there illegally. And instead of meaningfully contributing to the economy, they destroy their economies. Because they are not taxed, they are living free, they take over buildings, and they end up living in dangerous conditions. But if these things are done legally, with the agreements of the leaders in these countries, we can find a solution that is better than the solution that we have now. Now, we have ridiculous arrangements here. You have a country like Lesotho, which is right in the belly of South Africa. In Lesotho, they speak the same language as our people here in South Africa. It's our people there in Lesotho. Same language, same traditions, everything. But they are a country. You need a passport to go there. It's inside South Africa. You can literally round it up riding a bicycle in a single day. Lesotho is as big as Soweto. Botswana is also as big as Soweto. Swaziland is also as big as Soweto. It's the same size as Soweto. And all these three countries, Lesotho, Botswana, Swaziland, they speak the languages that are spoken here in South Africa. I'm not talking about words here and there. Like, in Tanzania, there are certain similar words that we share among ourselves, which also is an indication that at some point these people were one people and they moved around. And languages are dynamic. In South Africa, we have 11 languages, but there are other languages that are spoken. For instance, if you go to Soweto, you will have what is called Tsotsitaal. It is unique to Soweto. Of course, it has influenced it's spoken everywhere. But if you go to Cape Town, you'll find that there's a language that is spoken, it has been adapted to the people of. So there are many other languages that are undocumented, that are spoken. So languages are dynamic. As people move around, they change certain things and they develop a language. So that's how we ended up speaking all these different languages. But this should be a strength instead of a hindrance to progress. But this discussion is not even happening amongst our leaders. The unity amongst Africans or black people. I want to quickly talk about the other twin, which I call the evil twin, the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery was a doctrine which was conceived by church leaders, the popes, Catholic popes, who authorized certain leaders in Portugal and Spain to annex and colonize unchristian and paganist countries. That's what we were called. We were barbaric, uncivilized, unchristian. So we needed to be civilized. So they were authorized. During that time, the popes were very powerful. They were involved in politics. So they authorized this. It is no wonder a lot of white people believed that God sanctioned them to colonize people, take over their land, and force Christianity on them. Now, all these things, colonialism, were conceived in Berlin, and they decided on how they were going to rob us of our land. But I think they also decided on the exit strategy. After they have left, who's going to be left behind and ensure that they still benefit from the resources that are here? What did they do? They trained our leaders. They trained them to be just like them, to speak their language. They trained them to understand how democracy works. That's why we are trapped now, because it looked nice, this democracy, and it has entrapped us. We can't get out of it. And it ensures that the interests of white monopoly capitalists are intact. They are not interfered with. Now, I want to end here. I can go on for an hour, but I would like to hear from you. These issues should be burning issues. We should revisit them. We should talk about them. And those who are able to do something about it, or anyone, for instance, we should be able to do something about them. But I want to end here. Thank you very much for your attention. Please subscribe. Please share this video. Please make your comments. Asante sana. Ndawe yandu.